please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so it's time for another lineup projection video here, looking at what NHL teams' lineups could look like when we return to hockey, and continuing, last time we did Nashville, now we're going to stick with the same series and do the Arizona Coyotes. So in this video, I'm going to try and piece together an Arizona Coyotes lineup that hopefully now is healthy and at full strength, and try and give you guys a look at what the Coyotes lineup could look like, line combinations, D pairs, all of that, when they face off against Nashville at the beginning of their play-in series. So before we begin, I just ask that you please subscribe if you are new and hit that like button if you haven't already. Those thumbs up really help the channel a lot. But really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and let's get into it. So we're going to switch over to the cap-friendly screen here. And we're going to take a look at the Arizona Coyotes roster / lineup and get an idea of what this team could look like. So for a top line, Taylor Hall, obviously your top left wing. Have Christian Dvorak in the middle and Clayton Keller on the right side. That is a high offensive producing. For a team that in general is offensively challenged and doesn't score a lot of goals, that is your best offensive line right there. And that leaves a second line with Nick Schmaltz in the middle, with a healthy now Connor Garland returning on the left side, and Phil Kessel on the right side. Now, Kessel had a really bad year this year, only 14 goals, really struggled. So you could possibly put Hinostroza up there and drop Kessel to the third line. But if I'm the coach, this team is not going anywhere without Phil Kessel. This team is offensively challenged enough as it is and really struggles to score. You need Phil Kessel to be a point-producing player in your lineup if you're going to win, which means you need Phil Kessel to be a top 6 player in your lineup if you're going to win. So I would put Kessel with Schmaltz on the right there. We know how good when Schmaltz was in Chicago, he and Patrick Kane really played well together, and I think as much as Patrick Kane made Nick Schmaltz a better player, I think in some ways Nick Schmaltz made Patrick Kane a better player. They played really well together. They had chemistry. I want to see if Nick Schmaltz, at least to start, can make Phil Kessel a better player. Can Schmaltz get Kessel going in this play-in round series? Can he, play make enough to maybe get Kessel a couple goals early in the series and really get him going? And then obviously Garland had a great year this year, his first 20-goal season. He's not going to play ahead of Taylor Hall, but he's your top 6 winger for sure. That leaves Derek Stepan as your third-line center, and then Hinostroza or Kessel, whoever doesn't play second line, will play third line. And I have Carl Soderberg on the other side. Soderberg can play center as well, but with Brad Richardson healthy and as your fourth-line center, I think Soderberg's a guy that you move to the wing and play on the third line. And then, obviously, that leaves Brad Richardson as your fourth-line center with Lawson Crouse, who actually had a pretty decent year this year. And I have Michael Grabner on the right side. I can't see them healthy scratching Michael Grabner. But if they do, they could put Christian Fischer in there. Fischer did play quite a bit this year and is, I guess, more of that fourth-line type guy. But Grabner kills penalties, a huge threat shorthanded, can still score some goals, although he doesn't put up a whole lot of points anymore. He can still score a little bit if given the opportunity. So I think you have Grabner in the lineup there. And that's your starting forward group. And then obviously you have Barrett Hayton as an extra center. I don't think Hayton's ready yet. I would not throw him into this lineup with everyone else healthy. I think he's just a little bit away. So I'd leave him as an extra. Christian Fischer obviously is a guy that has played this year when there were injuries and could certainly slot in on a wing somewhere. You've got Marcus Hannakainen, Michael Bunting, Michael Chaput, Hudson Fasching, Bo Bennett. These are all depth guys who, from the minors, that with the expanded rosters, will likely get called up. But for the most part, I think, this is pretty much what you're going to see from Arizona. There is possibly the potential of putting Schmaltz on the top line and Dvorak at second line, but I don't think they're going to do that to start because Dvorak was playing with Hall a lot in the regular season, so I don't think they would break that up. So Although Schmaltz and Keller together could be really good. But again, I would try and use Nick Schmaltz to get Phil Kessel going, so I'd put him on the second spot and Dvorak up with Hall and Keller, and that would make a great scoring top line. Pretty good scoring second line that, you need to get going. And then a solid third line there, a little more defensively responsible. And then obviously your fourth line's your fourth line. Krause is your bigger power forward guy. Brad Richardson, a longtime NHL veteran, good penalty killer. Grabner, good penalty killer. A lot of speed there as well with Grabner. So, that's what I would do for the forward group. Moving on to defense and goaltending. Goaltending's easy. Darcy Kemper's your starter. He's back healthy. That's huge for them. Antti Raanta is your backup, and then Aiden Hill will get the call as the third goalie. D pairs. This is interesting because they have options. They are healthy now. And they have a lot of defensemen. They've got, I would say, they have at least 7, if not 8 defensemen I think could play regular NHL minutes. So, obviously, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is your top guy. He's your number 1 D-man. He's your top guy. Who you pair with him is pretty open. I think you could put any of these 4 guys right here next to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. If you wanted Lyubushkin in the lineup, I think you put him next to Ekman-Larsson. If you want a shutdown pair, you put Ekman-Larsson and Hjalmarsson together. You could put Goligoski up there. You could even put Demers up there, although I think Demers at this point is more of a bottom pair guy. For now, I'm going to put Alex Goligoski there. That's a pretty good top pair. Veteran guys, responsible guys, good two-way guys, though. Like, Ekman-Larsson certainly brings offense to the table, and Goligoski still, even at 34 years old, brings offense to the table from the back end. So that could be a highly productive top pair if you put those two together. If you want to go a more shutdown route, then I think you would just throw Hjalmarsson there, and that would be your shutdown pair. But I'm going to throw Goligoski there, and then you put Hjalmarsson with Jacob Chychrun, who hopefully will be back healthy after all this time. Chychrun, young guy, very bright future, a lot of potential, good young defenseman, but I think it would really help him out a lot to have a veteran guy with a ton of experience like Hjalmarsson next to him. And then, if there's any defensive mistakes, Hjalmarsson's a guy that can clean that up. So I really like that pairing as your number 2. And then that leaves Jordan Osterley and Jason Demers or Ilya Lyubushkin, whoever you want, as your bottom pair. I personally, like I said, I wouldn't put Osterley and Lyubushkin together. Those are 2 kind of depth guys, and that could leave you vulnerable in your bottom pair. And I don't think with this good of a defense and this good of a defensive team, I don't think you need to be vulnerable anywhere. So if Lyubushkin plays, I'm putting him with Ekman-Larsson. And then that would, put Hjalmarsson and Chychrun together, and then Goligoski and Osterley. Or you could put Hjalmarsson with Osterley and Goligoski with Chychrun. I mean, if Lyubushkin's in the lineup, I want him with Ekman-Larsson. So you have your number 1 guy, and then the depth, covering for the younger depth guy who might need it. If Lyubushkin's not in the lineup, then I think Jason Demers is your bottom pair right D-man. Veteran guy, been in the league for a while, struggled with injuries, but should be healthy. And he and Osterley can play on that bottom pair, which would then leave Lyubushkin as your number 7. And Aaron Ness as a depth D-man as well, who actually played some games this year when guys were out injured. And then I think Victor Soderstrom definitely will get a call up when the rosters expand. Kyle Capobianco is another guy that has seen some NHL action and will probably get a call up when the rosters expand as well. So toughest thing, I think, is just the D pairs. I think we certainly know who the top 7 are. I think we know who the top 6 are for the most part. It's just who plays with who, and I'm just going to throw those guys together for now. But obviously, they do have options, whichever direction Rick Tocchet and the coaching staff want to go. Goaltending is easy. We know Kemper's a starter, and Rant is the backup, and Aiden Hill would be the third goalie. And then up front, I think there are a couple of pieces that you could switch around here, but for the most part, this is what it's going to look like. So, that's let's switch back over to the regular cam, and that's what I've got for the Arizona Coyotes lineup, guys. So, obviously we'll see what they do. They're a team that went out and made that big Taylor Hall deal in December, and then Darcy Kemper got hurt, and their entire season kind of got derailed at that point. and they were not going to make the playoffs. If this was regular, if the season had continued normally and it was a normal 16 team, well, they haven't made the playoffs yet, but a normal 16 team, everything went normal. Arizona was not going to make the playoffs. Now they have a real chance to in this play-in round, where if they back healthy again with Kemper back, with that healthy decor, Connor Garland back, maybe they could pull off an upset over Nashville and make the playoffs this year. And this Arizona is definitely a team that would not has a greater chance to make some noise now this year because of the 2014 format than they certainly did before this whole thing happened and everything got shut down and changed. But they're an interesting team to watch for sure, and very, very good defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in the league, but on the other hand, struggle greatly offensively. So again, I think it's really going to come down to, can they score enough? Can they score enough to beat Nashville? If they can, we could see Arizona in the playoffs. If they can't score enough to beat Nashville, then obviously they're going to be losing this play-in round series. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. I forget my whole saying. I'm just going to end the video because I completely forgot what I usually say at the end. So we'll see if anybody... I'm going to leave this up. I could edit this out, but I'm going to leave this up and see if anybody actually watches all the way through to the end. And if you do, this was pretty funny. I completely forgot where I left off. I usually say that thing at the end without even thinking about it, and now my mind just forgot in a second, and I don't even know where I left off. But thank you for watching, and talk to you guys soon.